This is Eric John Visda from the FEU Alumni Relations Office. I would like to welcome you to the second installment of the Alumni Speakers Guru webinar series entitled How to Market and Sell Like a Pro When You're Shy. On behalf of our office, we extend our sincerest gratitude to all of you for attending, for giving your ample time with us, as we will definitely learn so much from today's discussion through our special guest speaker. I know you are all excited for this afternoon, so let's start the ball rolling. May I call on the Director of the Alumni Relations Office, Director Selmer L. Santos, to formally introduce to you our speaker.
About that. Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Karen Remo is a CEO, entrepreneur, and a multi-awarded business leader in Asia and the Middle East. Awarded as the 2019 Female Leader of the Year in the prestigious Middle East Economic Digest Awards and the 2015 Asian Women Leadership Award by the Asian Leadership Congress. Dr. Remo is a seasoned marketing communications advisor and strategist to various governments, corporations, and international not-for-profit organizations. Dr. Remo has co-founded and manages New Perspective Media, a group of 360-degree media and marketing agencies based in Dubai, with 4 offices in the Middle East and Asia Pacific. Under her leadership, the group has helped more than 1,000 brands and companies reach their target customers across 36 countries. Dr. Remo is the managing editor of 999 Magazine, the official publication of the UAE Ministry of Interior, which NPM Group publishes on behalf of the ministry. On top of her many hats, Dr. Remo is the publisher of the Filipino Times, the largest digital news portal for Filipinos in the Middle East and the biggest free newspaper in the United Arab Emirates. Dr. Remo holds a double magna cum laude degrees in Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication from Far Eastern University and Doctor of Philosophy in Business Management from Philippine Christian University, Middle East. In addition, she has taken law courses from FEU as well as leadership, management, and marketing executive programs from Harvard University, USA. She currently lives with her 17-year-old daughter in Dubai. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker, Dr. Karen Remo. Karen?
Hey, Selmer, thank you very much for such a kind introduction. I just would like to know if I am heard clearly right now.
Loud and clear, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay, so good afternoon. If you are in the Philippines, good morning. If you are here in the Middle East and also in Europe and the USA. I'm very, very pleased to be here and to help you overcome your fear of shyness and help you understand how to navigate the real world of corporate, government, or non-for-profit as well. So thank you very much to Far Eastern University Alumni Relations Office for arranging, hosting, and organizing this wonderful webinar. We are currently joined in by many people from different parts of the world, and some of them have confirmed their attendance, and they are coming from the Middle East, Asia, Europe, and also in Australia. So, welcome. Before we start the actual webinar, before I show my presentation, I requested that you get a coin, any currency that you have. So currently I have a 1 dirham coin, okay? And then you should have your pen and paper. What we're gonna do is we're going to test a law that has been there for many, many decades, and we're gonna check if it is real. So this is a coin, and we're gonna toss it 30 times, okay? So 10 in a row. So join me. So I'm gonna, so I have is a tail for 1. I have a head. The third one, 6 tails and 4 heads. So I have 2 plus 6 plus 6. Okay, so have you done yours? Because right now, I was able to get 14 14 tails, and 16 heads. So that is almost 50%, 50-50. We all know the probability of having a head or a tail is 50%. But have you tried this really at home, of trying if the probability actually works? We live in a world where science rules. There are already laws that you can use to be able to be successful. These are predictors. You can predict that is going to be 5 out of 10. Okay, the more numbers that you do, the higher probability that it's going to be 50-50. So let's find out now if this kind of rule, the law of large numbers, can influence and impact your success in life. So, my name is Dr. Karen Remo, and I am the CEO and Managing Director of New Perspective Media Group. And I'm here to talk about codes. As simple as you think it is, there are many things in life that had already been established and that you can predict, and all you have to know is how to use this in your favor. Success code for shy people. Okay, my topic outlines would just be 3 things. The first one is, what is the best predictor of success in career? Number 2, what are the barriers between now and being successful? What's the barrier to success? And what are the codes to be successful? Predictor. Can you really predict success, especially in career? What could be the best predictor of success? We have 3 options. 1, be a valedictorian. B, have a high IQ. Or C, have good communication skills. Which do you think is the best predictor? Okay, let's start with being a valedictorian. Do you remember who your valedictorian was when you were in elementary or in secondary? We have always thought that they will be the most successful people after college or once we grow up because they were just so good. There was a study in 1995 which followed 81 valedictorians 10 years after the graduation, and the study tried to find out, did they really become successful? What turned out was that the valedictorians eventually graduated college and they had good jobs. But there was not one of them was actually a standout success. Yes, being valedictorian can predict your college success, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to have groundbreaking career success. It has been published in many, many publications, from CNBC, Business Insider, and Daily News, that valedictorians don't really become groundbreaking successful, primarily because of 2 things. 1, because they're followers of the rules. In schools, you are taught to stick with the rules. And if you don't stick to the rules, you're being punished. However, in life, after graduation, you realize that there really are no rules. You're on your own. So the people who did not rely on the rules were the ones who were able to make the names and to be really successful. Secondly, to be a valedictorian, you have to be very good in almost every subject, from English, math, science, history, physical education even. However, after graduation, those who really succeed are those who have that specialization. They have very narrow focus on what they know. People will pay experts, and experts have specialized narrow knowledge. What else? In my 2017 commencement speech for FEU, I told the graduates, I know that it's hard to be a college student. As hard as it is, it's pretty much still predictable. You begin and end your classes pretty much in the same time. You have a set of rules, and we all know that if you get a grade of 3.0, you will get the same diploma that the valedictorian took home that day. So is being a valedictorian a predictor of success? It is a factor, but it's not the best predictor. What about having high IQ? We have always admired people who have high IQ, right? So from 85 to 115, that's the scale that's considered middle. In the Philippines, the average IQ is 85. When you reach an IQ of 140, that means you have high IQ, and when you breach 160, you're a genius. Being a genius or having high IQ is actually a gift. You're born with it. 80% heritability, that's the percentage according to studies. So you're lucky if you had a very smart and genius parents or grandparents. But does having high IQ guarantee you being successful in your career? Well, studies show that when you have reached 115, even if you become 116, 117, or 120, go higher than 115, it makes very, very little difference. And the incremental IQ after 115 doesn't really matter. So what does that mean? IQ above 115 fails as a predictor of success in career. It can predict your success in academics. You'll graduate well with high grades, but again, not a guarantee that you will have a successful career because IQ only has an impact of 6% in your success. That leaves now to the third one, having good communication skills. Will that be the ticket to your success? There was a study done by a Stanford Business School professor. And what he did was to collect and collate all the transcript of records and letters of recommendations of students. And after that, what he did was to study those records and the jobs now of the students, of these executives, after a decade. And then he ranked them from least to highest. And did you know what was the best predictor of success? It wasn't the grade point average. It wasn't the grade. What was found out was that the only consistent and significant predictor of success was verbal fluency. What now is the best predictor of success? Communication skills. Your goodness or greatness in communication skills will have a direct impact on your success and your wealth. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to live a comfortable life. And since we all want that, we should all develop communication skills. However, we now know that this is you and you want to be successful, and communication skills will bridge the gap. But why is it so hard? You know, it's like a puzzle. Why can't you reach there? Because the only thing that stands between you and practicing good communication skills is fear. I asked 50 people who had described themselves as shy. So they always told me that they're afraid to speak, they're nervous to speak, they're anxious to talk, and they have jitters whenever they give presentation. All this are defined and described as shyness. But almost everybody feels shy every now and then. 75 to 90% have been shy at some point in their life. In fact, speaking is one of the biggest fears in the whole wide world. Look at the study that was published in Washington Post by Chapman University. Okay, what is the biggest fear? Public speaking. 25.3% say they fear speaking in front of a crowd. The thing with fear is that it's not necessarily real. Why? Because look at the other fears. Fears of bugs, snakes, and other animals. How many times do you actually see a snake in your life? Actual snake right in front of you. I haven't. How many times have you actually seen zombies or clowns or ghosts? See, if you're fearing clowns and ghosts and you're fearing public speaking, it only means one thing. Your fears are not based on reality. Hence, your fears are not real. So now we know that the fear of speaking is actually shyness in simple words. And the gap, the problem, the main barrier is actually shyness. You to success, the gap is called shyness. So what are we going to do to remove and eliminate shyness? Confidence. Confidence is something that isn't taught in your library books. Confidence is something that you learn because nobody is born confident. And once you master the art and science of confidence, because it is also a science, because remember when we did our toss coin, things are governed by laws of nature. I have asked 20 people before this presentation, and I asked them, you're a shy person, are you? And they said, yes. And do you feel shy also when you're speaking with your friends and families? And they said, no. They are different people when they are with your friends and families. Why is that so, that you're shy in a specific circle and then you're not shy in a specific circle? You feel shy when you fear people will reject you. You feel shy when you fear people will make you feel inadequate. Oh my God, she's so good. Oh my God, he's so awesome. He will underestimate me. Oh, my boss is so good. But again, fear is always not real. Most of the time, fear is not real. Also, you feel shy because your self-image and dignity is threatened. You are afraid because something bad might happen. What is that bad thing? The destruction of your self-image and dignity. But is that fear real and imminent? Does that hold water? Shyness is a self-defense mechanism. What does that mean? When you are under threat, when a robber is in front of you, or when you're going to be attacked, you defend yourself. And there are three main responses that the body would do. 3F. Either you fight, either you flee or you flight, and you freeze. So it's called a fight, flight, freeze response. Either which, when you are in self-defense, you are closed, right? And if you're closed, what does that mean? There's no communication that's going to happen, because communication means opening up. It's a free flow of thoughts, of ideas, of emotions. If you're in a self-defense mechanism, you are the one putting the gate. It's not the other person, it's you. What did you lose financially by starting a conversation? Nothing. Okay, you wanted to approach a person right next to you because you wanted to sell your new product. It's an amazing product, but you're shy to do so. By not talking to the person, you lost nothing. Or by talking to the same person, you lose nothing. But you know what you actually lose? Opportunity. To be happy, to succeed, to have a good job and relationship. We're living in a sadder world according to many researches, and maybe, just maybe, one of the reasons is because we don't have the courage to start that first conversation, the first flow, the first high. Shyness is not genetic, but learned. So do not say, I was born shy. Because shyness and introversion are two different things. Introversion is a trait, extroversion is a trait, but shyness is not. It is something you learned, and the good thing is, if it's learned, you can unlearn it. There's no such thing as shy gene, according to doctors. So, shyness is the fear of negative judgment. Like when you look at a person, it's like, oh my God, he's gonna say I'm bad, I'm not good enough. You tell yourself, I'm not good enough. Did a person actually tell that to you? No. But you're telling yourself that that person is going to say something negative about you. But introversion is a preference for quiet, minimally stimulating environments. A lot of successful sellers, marketers, and leaders are introverts. I myself am an introvert. I was very shy and I was introvert at the same time. Do not confuse the two. Both introverts and extroverts experience shyness. Now, when does shyness become a problem? When it becomes a barrier to success. You can be shy every now and then, but when it becomes a barrier to what better you can become, then that becomes a big issue. And you know what? It's a big problem because when you stop growing, you start dying. And you only grow when new opportunities are in front of you. And you are to unlock your own opportunities. Shyness is a widespread problem in the Philippines. I have checked 2 days ago Google Trends. Google Trends is a tool in Google that you can see which words are actually being searched by a certain country or region. So I searched over the last 12 months and all around the world. Shyness, shy, how to overcome shyness, and confidence were actually the most searched words in the Philippines. I understand a lot of our viewers right now are Philippines, so I chose Philippines as our case study. Now let's study who else are experiencing this problem. Shyness. Ghana, Ethiopia, Uganda, Nigeria, Kenya. Okay. Who else are feeling shy apart from Philippines? Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, Kenya. How to overcome shyness? The only country that surpassed Philippines is Nigeria. The only country that surpassed Philippines in looking for confidence is Ethiopia. Shyness is not based on reality. Shyness is based on self-image. That image is actually something I presented to one of the engagements I had earlier, because I asked women how do they feel about themselves, and most women thought they're actually big, they're stout, when they are not. And the same way that self-image is based on a constructed reality. Wow. A lot of people would think the other way around. How do you now eliminate shyness? Okay. Build self-esteem. Self-concept is one of the most amazing discoveries, at least on understanding-wise, in the 20th century. Because it helps you understand that how you view the world or how you think others views you depend on how you view yourself. There is a study done by the author of The Brain, The Story of You, where he invited a lot of people in the laboratory, and they were asked to hold photos of smiling and frowning people. Then he was given, these people were given electrodes or put electrodes in their left and right cheek. If they're holding a photo of a smiling person, their muscles tend to smile. If they're holding a photo of another person who's frowning, their facial muscles tend to frown as well. Okay. And then the second batch came. This time, they invited people who had Botox. So Botox relaxes your muscles. Same experiment. Electrodes were put on the left and right cheek. They were asked to hold the same photos of people smiling and frowning. And here's the interesting thing. People who are actually people with Botox are worse in identifying emotions because they themselves don't feel it, because their muscles are so relaxed. The way you view others is highly dependent. The way you view others view you depends on how you view yourself. If you view yourself as you're not enough, then people may construe that you are not enough. If you view yourself like you're good, then others will view the same way. The thing is that we are so harsh on ourselves. We are our own critic. So much commercials has been done, like Dove commercials, like especially during Mother's Day, where women are putting down themselves, and I believe it's also the same with men. It's your self-concept defines how you think others view you. If you think that Mr. A looks at you as somebody who's great, you're right. If you think that Mr. A looks at you as somebody who's not good, then you're also right. Because it's just in here. To build your self-esteem, you have to talk to yourself, okay? And that's our second experiment and our activity today. So I'd like you to get your pen and paper, and let's do it now. Think of somebody who is so good in your career, and then start to write and define and describe who this person is. Okay, I'll give you like 10 seconds to think of who this person is. He's so good, somebody who's so good in your industry, in your career, somebody who you admire. This person doesn't have to know you, or you don't have to know this person personally, but put the name, okay? Then let's put at least 3 words, and let's describe this person. Okay, I'd say Karen, okay? I think the person is Karen. Also, no, let's make Kathy, okay? Kathy is beautiful. Kathy is smart. Kathy is funny. Kathy is influential. Kathy is a risk taker. Kathy is strong. Kathy is brave, courageous, or Kathy is great in selling. Kathy is amazing in presentation. Kathy is likable. Whatever you put, it's your own words, okay? Now, cross out the name. Cross out Kathy, whoever that person is. And we will replace it with I am. So we say, I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am smart. I am funny. I am influential. I am a risk taker. I am strong. I am courageous. I am good in selling. I am amazing in doing presentations. I am very likable. And put this paper, okay? You can create another one without the name of the other person and put on your wall, put in your refrigerator. It should be the first thing that you should see in the morning. It should be in your mirror. You will talk it to yourself. Nobody can build self-esteem except you. Put it there. And if you believe in the law of positivity, law of attraction, you will become what you wrote right now. So build self-esteem, you have to start it from yourself, and you have to talk something to your mind, because your mind is a muscle. It's a 1.3 kilogram muscle, jelly muscle right there. And it's a muscle. So whatever you put in there, it will absorb. Listen to good stuff. Watch and listen to podcasts that are positive. Stay away from toxic people. Yeah, that's right. You heard it right. Stay away from toxic people. Surround yourself with positive people, realistic people, and read books. So whatever you surround yourself, it will become you. Second way to eliminate shyness is to focus on your customers. I was asked in a conference earlier on it's a conference sponsored by IPC, which is a joint initiative by World Trade Organization and UNCTAD, United Nations. I was asked, how do you get noticed in this highly competitive market? I said, well, the same way that a husband was able to get a yes from his wife, he first noticed the wife. How do you get noticed? You notice your customer first. When you are so happy, when you are so enthusiastic in serving the needs of your customer, you forget yourself. I don't care how I look like right now. I'm going to serve the customer need right now. So the attention is no longer in you, but it's now with your customer. And I'll tell you, when you focus your energy in serving the needs of your customer, you are on your way to success. Your customer could be your boss. Your customer could be the person who's buying meat from the public market. Your customer could be somebody who's buying something from your online business. Your customer could be your wife or your husband or your kids. So focus on your customer's needs and you'll be able to eliminate shyness. I think you know Michael Single. Okay, Michael Cinco is a very famous designer. And he told me that he is a shy guy, very shy. But he has dressed so many people, including, Victoria Swarovski, where he had like what hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Swarovski in her gown. He does it. He makes people happy by focusing on the customer, which is in this presentation, Victoria Swarovski. You do not have to be an extrovert to be successful and great in communication skills. You just have to focus on serving your customers, and everything follows. And this is during our The Filipino Times Awards, where we award exemplary Filipinos all over the world, internationally, if they have done something spectacular in their industry. A lot of them are shy. A lot of them are introvert people, but they were able to become very successful because they have focused on serving the needs of their customers. Now, the third set, and we're almost done. What are the codes to be successful? Get your pen and paper. Let's crack the code. You're selling most of the time, right? So you're selling if you're a mom, you're selling the idea of eating vegetables to your child. If you are a boss, you're selling a vision to your people. If you're a government official, you're selling your platform and your thoughts to people. If you're a church or a spiritual leader, you are selling the spiritual or religious doctrine. You are saving people from something that's going to put them to doom. So what you're doing is you're selling something that you strongly believe in. And we will talk about it and why it's important for you to understand how selling is also an important way of becoming successful. Look at fossils, scene of the crime, and successful people like Mark Zuckerberg and Oprah, Henry C., and LeBron James. What do they have in common? All of them leave tracks. Fossils leave tracks on what happened in the past and to be able to understand how evolution happened. Scene of the crime, they leave tracks so that the police can track the criminals. And successful people, they leave tracks on how did they become successful. 1 out of 4 CEOs have marketing and sales background. But there's a bigger number. All CEOs are sellers because they sell their products the way as a CEO would have to do it. Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks Coffee, was actually a salesman in Xerox. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, was actually a paper boy. And Henry C., who will not know Henry C., he started selling shoes during the World War II, and now he had founded a conglomerate. The late Henry C. was able to found one of Asia's biggest conglomerates. Among entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur or you want to be an entrepreneur, one of the most important skills you have to learn is the ability to sell. Marketing and selling both involve communication skills. Now, to be successful, master communication skills. It is a skill. It's something that you learn again and again and again. So attend seminars like this, read books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube, and be surrounded with people who are good in communication. Now, in selling, you would know that if you are the amateur, you would always look at somebody who's professional and feel that, oh my God, that person is so good. I only have 2 accounts, and that professional has 10 accounts. And he makes it look so easy. That's what we always feel. And then we get intimidated. What you do not see is that you closed 2 sales because you spoke to 10 people, whereas the professional spoke with 15 people. He is outselling you because he's out talking you. This person communicates every day, every night. To be successful, you have to increase real life practice. There is the law, there is a theory that says the 10,000 rule. It's highly controversial, but the thought is that if you keep on doing the same thing again and again for 10,000 hours, you become an expert in something. And I think you would. I have been writing for many, many years, and so now I write so easily. People who are in selling, they keep on selling, so they become successful. You just have to keep on increasing whatever you're doing to be successful. Again, practice, practice, practice. Then now the application of what we've done earlier on the tossing of the coin. Law of large numbers said that if you do something often enough, a ratio will begin to appear. What was the ratio earlier that we've done? 50%. Now you have to understand what is the ratio of your current ability. If you're the amateur who sells 2 out of contacting 10 people, your ratio is 20%, and the professional is 66%. How do you now become a professional? Okay, how do you get the same amount of sales as what the professional had? Just talk to more people. Because to be able to get the same number of 10 is to 10, then you have to speak and sell to as much people as possible. So earlier you were talking to 10, now you have to speak to 50 to get the same number of sales or accounts as the professional actually has right now. The Filipino Times is published by New Perspective Media Group, and I'm happy to announce or to say that we recently grew 100%. So we're now 4.5 million in terms of viewership. Did it happen by chance, by accident? No. There's math, science, and statistics behind it. We know how much people are reading and spending time on the internet. So if we want to reach 4.5 million, we just have to create more stories to be able to reach that number. BuzzFeed, for example, to be able, they produce 1,500 copy every day, 1,500 artwork and materials. Out of 1,500, only 150 actually only get to be read. So do not feel bad if you're just getting 10, 20% success ratio, because that is how it works. You will be doing a lot of things and a lot of them seems meaningless, but no, they're very helpful because I will tell you for the next code. To be successful, you have to use the law of large numbers in your favor. It's science. Don't be too emotional, okay? It's not about you. The universe had already created these laws. So just keep on trying. And number 4, if you would, during our toss coin, what we know is that if you keep on tossing and tossing and tossing the coin, the same thing, you get the predictability the same all throughout. Andre Agassi used to be the world's former #1 tennis player. He said, "My father says that if I hit 2,500 ball each day, and at the end of the year, my father says that if I hit 2,500 ball each day, I'll hit 17,500 balls each week. And at the end of 1 year, I'll have hit nearly 1 million balls." He believes in math. Numbers, he says, don't lie. A child who hits 1 million balls each year will be unbeatable. If you are good in selling pancakes, keep on selling pancakes. If you want to be really good in selling worms, then keep on selling worms. If you feel that you want to be really good in singing, and keep on singing. Okay? Things can be learned. And just keep on doing it again and again. Code number 4, to be successful, get better in one thing. One thing at a time. You don't have to be very good in everything. I mean, you know that Tiger Woods is very good in golfing, but is he very good in his personal relationships? You cannot be good in everything. So choose on what you want to be successful. Just one thing. And focus on it again and again and again. If you want to learn how to talk, just keep on talking. Today, put a note that say, I'm going to speak with 10 people, 10 strangers. And then talk to 10 strangers, of course, with your PPE on, because it's currently risky right now to talk without your mask. If you're afraid that people will laugh at you when you present, then present more. If you're afraid that people will laugh at you when you sing, then sing more. You have to do it more, and you have to do one thing again and again. We know that the success ratio earlier was 20%, right? What you don't really see is the 80% rejection. You will always be rejected in this life. Whether it's sales or being a leader, you will always be rejected. But embrace it. In sales, my best friend and mentor had told me this. Your boss has not paid you to get those 20 sales. Your boss had paid you to do the 20 sales and 80 rejections. because you will not have those 20 sales without that 80% rejections. Embrace rejection, embrace failure. That's the key to being successful. Again, if you're shy and people are not happy with the way you communicated, just carry on, just keep on doing it. Michael Jordan, he has missed 9,000 shots in his career, lost 300 games. He failed over and over and over again in his life. And that's why he said he succeeded. Keep on failing. That's the key to being successful. J.K. Rowling, the very famous author of Harry Potter, been rejected 12 times by publishing houses. Could you imagine that? Like somebody who's telling you you're not good enough? Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba, China's biggest online marketplace, been rejected by Harvard 10 times. What about you? Have you been rejected 3 times and you bailed out? Think about it. Code number 5. To be successful, you have to increase the number of your rejections. Last 2. Eyes. Okay, vision. You cannot be who you want to be if you don't see it. You cannot be what you want to be if you can't see it. The thing with vision is that you live in a 3D world, okay? 3D body, 3D world, and yet your vision, the light falls on your retina on a 2-dimensional fashion. So there's 1 dimension missing. So what happens? You guess. Your mind guesses. So if your guess is that you're not good, you're right. If your guess is that you're great, you're right. Your mind guesses. So let your mind guess into something that is better. My daughter told me earlier that, when you're feeling nervous, the feeling of nervousness and the feeling of excitement, it's the same. But it's just how you interpret it. Your body, your brain doesn't recognize it, So either you say, I'm nervous, or you say, I'm excited. Right now, I am excited in sharing these thoughts and learnings to all of you. WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. During the olden times, the computers are not able to project to you what was being typed on your laptop or screens. No laptop then, just your monitor. Beach right now looks like this. Beach a couple of years ago looks like that. Right? In a New Perspective Media, what we do is we create confidence not only for companies, but also for individuals, but mostly for companies. And there was a group of entrepreneurs who approached us and said, look, we want to bring a major league in the Middle East. It's an ambitious feat. To be able to do so, to bring the brand to the region, we have the company has to raise 4 billion pesos to 75 million dirhams, or let's say $75 million. And how are we going to do it? We're going to raise it in the stock markets. Easy? No. Why? Because the company wasn't really existing at the time, except from a paper of registration. It has even no CEO. And it was right after recession, just like this. Nobody has gone to the stock markets. How are you going to sell a product, a concept that doesn't exist with no management in a very scared market? So you picture it, you create a vision for them. You have to see it. And by creating a story, we were able to help them raise not only 275 million dirhams, but 10.7 billion dirhams. So we're looking at like more than 1 trillion pesos in the stock markets. This was me in 2003. Okay. Same way that I was scared because I was a shy introvert person as well. And I had a 1-year-old daughter and I had no job. But I had a dream and I had pictured it in my mind. My dream was that I'm going to send my daughter in the best school possible. I will give her all the love in the world and attention and whatever a parent can do. And I also would like to raise the flag of the Philippines in the international market arena. So I went to the UAE when I was 19 years old and tried to find where I fit in. It wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. It was very hard. But by doing what I have just shown you earlier, I was able to not only have a job, but also create a company and also raise the flag of the Philippines in the international arena, which has been recognized as well by more than 200 nationalities. You have to see it. You cannot be what you cannot see. Code number 6. To be successful, we have to see success mentally. If you think that your salary is about 10,000 pesos and that's what your lifestyle is, you will earn 10,000 pesos continuously. If you think that your salary should, your lifestyle will be 20,000 pesos, then you will start to behave accordingly. See it, draw it, and then live it. Last year, it is the last point. Last year, we have celebrated 50th anniversary of human landing in the moon. One quote from John F. Kennedy stood out. We do these things not because they're easy, but because they are very hard. As you go through your life in selling and becoming successful in your career, you find it so hard. And really, it gets hard. Really, really hard, especially now. It's COVID-19, there's COVID-19, and there's loss of jobs and companies closing down. But always remember that pain is, a gift. The best gift is wrapped in pain. You just have to unwrap it. So how do you deal with it? Self-motivate yourself. That's self-motivation. Do not expect others to motivate you. You're not a kid anymore. When you were 7-year-old, somebody will wake you up to brush your teeth. Do you think today somebody will do that for you? Do not rely on others. Desperation is the key. When you have to make money for your family, when you have to live, when you have to survive, when you're so desperate about doing something, you will succeed. Because no matter what happens, you know that you need to get it. It's not like I want to get it. You need to get it. After this talk, it's all on your hands. You have to decide. Some said there's the 5-second rule. When you want to do something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Some said there's a 3-second rule. 3, 2, 1, get up. And there are some people who said it's a 1-second rule. Just do it. Your alarm, do not put it on snooze. It alarms to get up and do what you need to do. Either it's a rule of 5, rule of 3, or rule of 1. Be desperate in getting what you really want. And do the self-talk. Talk to yourself. It's good for the soul. So code number 7, to be successful, do not rely on others for motivation. Cheer yourself up. Come on. Wake up. Hey, I'm happy. I am very, very happy. Hey, you're beautiful, right? You're handsome when you're looking at the mirror. Summary. We have learned that the best predictor of success in career is not your diploma. It's not your valedictorian medal. It's not having an IQ, but having good communication skills. The barrier to success is shyness. And to overcome shyness, you have to have self-esteem. Build your self-concept, develop it, and focus on your customers. It's not always about you. In fact, many times, it's not about you. Success formula. You will have the confidence to destroy and eliminate shyness, so you'll be able to practice your communication skills, speak, communicate, and be successful. Codes to be successful. 1, master communication skills. 2, practice. Increase real-life practice. 3, use the law of large numbers in your favor. Number 4, get better in one thing at a time. 5, increase the number of your rejections. 6, see success mentally. And 7, do not rely on others for motivation. So that's the end of my presentation. I am Dr. Karen Remo, CEO and Managing Director of New Perspective Media Group. You can contact me at Karen@New Perspective Media Group. I am also, just yesterday, I am on social media. Please follow and like my page, Dr. Karen Remo on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and I'll try to catch up and answer your questions as much as I can. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you very much, Karen. That's a
Thank you so
very
much.
wonderful presentation. So
you should have a vision board. I mean, that's a very deep word, actually, having a vision board. It's just enough to know what you want, and then have a plan to reach how you want, and then schedule it and do it again and again to be confident.
Okay, so we have a lot of questions coming in from Ann-Sophia Ampuan. How do you build your self-esteem when you're depressed?
Okay. Well, thank you, Mike Wants earlier for the question I wasn't able to mention. Sophia,
Yeah.
okay, depression is a clinical word. Okay, so if it's depression, I would suggest that you talk, or people who are clinically depressed, they have to speak to experts on depression. But if you're feeling sad, okay, because depression and sadness are also interchangeably used. If you are sad and feeling low and you want to increase your self-esteem, there are things that you can do. Excuse me. I'm using a FEU mug, by the way. Okay, I would suggest three things. Okay, number one is exercise. Okay, I'm not gonna give highfalutin answers. Just exercise. Because when you exercise, when you move, when you sweat, you have the serotonin and endorphin, and you have all these wonderful hormones. The same hormones when you are making love, the same hormones when you are eating chocolates. But the good thing about exercise is that it lifts up the hormones. Okay, so that can help build your self-esteem. Okay, because you cannot uh, overcome sadness by thinking happiness. No, it's not a brain versus brain. It's not a mind versus brain. It's not a mind versus mind thing. You have to do physically something. So exercise. Number two is to eat healthy, especially vegetables, which have very, very high nutrients, because that will impact your brain as well. Number three, take a rest. Okay, because some people, when they're sad, they're just so tired. So relax, enjoy some hot bath if you can, with some scented candles. And then when your mind is ready, when your physique is ready, then that's when you start your self-talk. You go back to your self-talk, you surround with people. And by the way, communication is important in battling or conquering shyness and sadness. Why? Because in the book, The Brain, The Story of You, the book postulates that when that the brain is actually good in remembering things, and to make it function well, you have to sleep, breathe fresh air, and many other nutritional things. But the most fascinating part of that book is that it said to be able for the brain to function, you have to start talking to people. Talk. And sometimes, and many times, by the way, listening is also important. So all these things, there's not one answer to your question, Sophia. So it's both physical and psychological. Combine them together.
Thank you, Karen. What advice can you give to a person who is shy and scared to speak in English?
You have to learn how to speak in English. So you,
Practice.
yeah, really, you have to speak English. No, as well. I mean, the first thing you have to understand is, okay, where am I right now? Where do I want to go? And what are the obstacles? Okay. So you want to be accepted and appreciated by a certain crowd. And what you feel is that you can't speak English well and properly. I graduated from a public school. We didn't speak English when we were in elementary. So what you can do, Roselyn, is that first, okay, permit yourself to speak in English. Okay. What do you mean by permit? Because a lot of people, they don't permit themselves because they're so afraid already. Permit yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to just talk. Okay. Because before you can even talk, you're already judging, critiquing, and already putting yourself down most of the time. So the first thing is permit yourself, permission. Permit yourself to actually speak. Just speak in English. Doesn't matter if they laugh. Doesn't matter if they don't care. Doesn't matter if you're getting the immediate result. Just speak. After permission is community. Okay. You have to be surrounded with people who speak in English. Create a community, because you cannot practice. You cannot do something you can't practice. Like even if you drive and there's no car to drive, it gets rusty. So find a community that will be able to support you with this. Now, the community right now is very restricted because of the COVID-19 situation, but you can watch YouTube, and then you follow them and you repeat them, when they speak. So when you want to learn how to speak English, then do not watch movies that are not in English. You have to emulate it, and then just keep on speaking that language. So two things: permission and community. Permit yourself to speak. Permit yourself to make mistakes. Just speak English. And then secondly is create a community or join a community. Do not be ashamed. Do not be shy. You know, own it. I want to speak English well, and I'm going to learn how to do it.
Okay, thank you. From Lorraine Luna Danipog, how do you optimize other people's feedback to improve yourself?
Okay, that's a very deep word, optimize. Okay, so Lorraine, a feedback, if it's negative, is a gift because that is actually an opportunity to improve. Now, when you are given a negative feedback, doesn't matter if the person at the end is pleased or not. What matters is that you listen to this person because people will remember how you made them feel. Not necessarily what you told them, but what they felt when they were talking to you. So any opportunity to improve your product, to improve yourself is a wonderful gift. So take it, it's like a gift that's being given to you. And it just doesn't look nice, but it's like ampalaya. And it's something that it tastes bitter, but it's actually good for you. So take it, accept it.
Okay, thank you. The next one is from Samina. Dr. Karen, we know you have come so far, but if you had to start your career again, what would it be? What would it be? One thing you would have to do differently, or you want to do differently?
I would do the same thing that I've been doing right now. Really, I am so passionate. I have fallen in love with communication. If I may share with Samina, when I was an elementary student, so we didn't speak English, and I just get books from my cousins from Manila, and I would read them because they were fascinating. Oh my God, these are beautiful books, and I would read them. And if you know the word hihip, when you're cooking in using wood, that's how we used to cook. And I would hold the hihip, the tube, and I would pretend that it's actually my microphone. And I would think that I'm going to be the best reporter ever. I did not end up to be a reporter. I did not end up to be a reporter in the Philippines. I ended up becoming a reporter somewhere else. And not only that, I ended up having my own company which employs reporter. Would I have it any other way? I wouldn't know if I will end up like this, if I would change it. But what I know is that what I really wanted since I was young was I wanted to communicate because I know that I'm giving a gift to people. When a country would like to speak to its constituents, the biggest problem of countries right now is that there's a gap between what the leader wants and the constituents actually get. There's a big gap between the bosses and then the employees. If I can bridge that gap, that will be a gift both to people and the leaders. So I will be doing the same thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Samina.
So, yeah, from Rydell of Cebu Pacific, coming from failing a pitch or not making it close after selling a product or idea, how do we bounce back from it? Do we change communication strategies or stick what professionals teach us or make our own style?
Every agency, Rydell, has its own identity. But it doesn't mean that the identity cannot change. Because your clients, your customer would be, the companies, the client is actually your customer. And the customer would want a certain way of how to present the pitch. How do you bounce back? First of all, acknowledge that it's painful because when you do a pitch, you take hours and nights and weeks of preparation and money to create an advertising or a communications campaign pitch. And then when you present it, what's the main problem here sometimes or many times? The client is not able to articulate what really they want so that the agency find it difficult to understand. So you bounce back by two things. One is to just get it over. Get over it. Just pitch again. Okay, this client didn't work. Learn from it. Pitch again. Okay, and then secondly is that you start to identify and contact the clients and ask why did we fail? Because It's also a thing right now where you can now ask the clients or the would-be clients, why did you not make it? And then they will give you a feedback. And then you pitch again, again, and again.
Okay. From Ederic, will a proper way of listening consider as a good communication tool? How do you communicate by just listening? Is that possible and in what way?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Edric. Listening is more important than talking because listening is a skill that you have to master before you can talk. Talking without listening is futile because then you just become like an empty can, right? We started earlier by knowing your customer. So you have to listen to your customer. How do you do that? How do you practice listening intently? So you have to pay attention, right? There are many studies and then surveys that said how to pay attention. You have to look into the eyes. You have to use a pen and write it. You have to lean closer. You know what? The only way to pay attention, to show that you're paying attention, is to pay attention. Just pay attention without your mobile phone. Okay? Forget about looking at the eyes because when you're listening intently, you will definitely just not do anything else. And it's understandable. It's understandable because you can write, you can talk 125 words per second, or 125 words per minute, but you can listen for 450 words per minute. There's a big gap between 125 and 450. So the gap, what happens to the mind? It wanders. It goes everywhere else. So is listening a communication skill? Yes, it is. The more important skill than talking. As I mentioned earlier, designers, do they talk a lot? No. Michael Cinco doesn't talk a lot, but he listens what the client wants. By listening, you're communicating already. And the actual product is a communication tool. Because communication is not only verbal. Verbal is only 7% of the communication, by the way. Only 7% is verbal. So the more important thing here is to show that you have listened and that you have created a product that communicates your excellence.
Right. Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay, from Aero, how do you convince others? Aero bien. Yeah, AERO, yeah. How do you convince others to see the image that you are trying to make for yourself?
You believe it yourself. You live it. You breathe it. Okay. So if you see yourself as a person worthy of respect, then you have to see it yourself. If you see yourself and behave in such a way, then others will see it. Now, I have told this in a couple of my seminars and then conferences. You dress not for what your position is. You dress for what you aspire to be. So if you're a secretary and you want to be a CEO, why not? Then dress like a CEO. You're the front liner, okay? So you have to live it. That's why I told you earlier, think of that person that you admire and then write down the traits and qualifications. And then you have to emulate that yourself. Keep on seeing it and doing, and you will be able to project yourself and later on live it.
Okay. From Cristel May Romero, how can someone say that he or she is already confident enough about yourself or about herself? Because there are times that you may feel intimidated again.
You will never feel confident enough. Never, ever. But always know that you are ready. You are good enough. So even Barack Obama does feel jitters. Even the most spectacular, amazing leader also feels shyness and fears. So you will never feel confident enough. But know that you are ready. And then when you see a person and when you're about to speak, even in concerts, you see J-Lo, when you watch concerts, they're very tired and they're screaming, behind the scenes. And then when they're being propelled up onto the stage, They say, okay, 5, 4, and then they smile. 3, 2, 1, and then they sing. You project it. You will never feel good enough. You will never feel confident enough. But know for sure that you are confident already.
Okay. So, okay, this is interesting. Do you think, this is from Anne-Marie Marabot, do you think shyness is part of how we were brought up, like fear from anything we do, as what our parents remind us always?
Yes, yes, definitely. Shyness is also cultural. In Japan, in China, women, when you are quiet and you're shy, you're demure, you are looked up as somebody who is dignified. You're somebody who's more likable if you're quiet. In the Philippine culture, if you're quiet, ang bait-bait naman niya. So being quiet is synonymous to being kind. So it is definitely cultural. And when you actually speak, when I was in the US doing my postgraduate studies, when a teacher asks, everybody just answers, and I raise my hand. It's like, why am I raising my hand? My daughter also, she says that, why do I raise my hand when I wanted to talk? So we are raised differently. In fact, when we are in a stadium or watching basketball, okay, in Western world, somebody asks, is this seat taken? Right? For Filipino, may nakaupo na po ba? Is anybody sitting here? It's like you see no one is sitting there, but you assume somebody is sitting there. We are sometimes so polite to a fault that we don't talk. It is a culture, yes. And that is why you have to look outside the Philippines as well on how others are behaving, on how others are becoming successful. You have to broaden your horizon. If you look only at the culture is good to study. Of course, you have to fit in a certain society, but do not be afraid to break cultural norms as long as it's within the legal boundaries. Because to be successful, as I earlier mentioned, you should not always follow the rules.
Okay. From Helen, so what can you advise to SME owners in this COVID time, and how to market effectively?
SMEs are very much affected right now. Now, know that SMEs, while they're called small medium enterprise, they comprise 85 to 90% of the whole economy. Mm-hmm. So even if you think you're small, no, because collectively SMEs are the biggest chunk of economic contributor for any nation. So how do you now survive during this time? Number one, this is not going to be very communication, but number one is cash flow, right? So a lot of studies have shown that the first thing that you have to do now is to conserve cash flow, because the business owners of SMEs, they only have a reserve for up to 27 days. And by now, it should have been depleted, because of the quarantines and all that. Okay. Second is that you should be able to think of how people want to be served right now, because the desires, the needs have changed. So you have to serve whatever needs, and then you have to know your customer, how they want the product to be served. I tell people when I do conferences that you have to look beyond demography, male, female, in which location. You have to look at their behaviors. In the UAE, for example, we know that for the Filipino market that we're serving, we know that they are very emotional people, so we use emotional ads. We know what time do they wake. So if the traffic for Facebook marketing, for example, we know that it peaks at 9, it peaks at 1, and then at 6 o'clock. And then for LinkedIn, there's also different spikes. For Instagram, there's different spikes. So you look at those numbers, and so that you can be seen. Because even how nice your marketing is, if you're not doing it on the right time, your communication will go to waste.
Okay. From from Pamela. Okay. How to voice concerns professionally without seeing or seeming negative, most especially to your seniors or boss?
Okay. Speaking up and speaking
Yeah.
out. That's very important task, because to be able to create an open communication, you need to speak out not only the positive but also the negative. So the mere fact that you're thinking about speaking out something negative is already a good step, because you know that there's something wrong. Okay. The second one is for you to understand the person well, your boss or the leader, whoever this person is. If the person is coming from a very bad meeting, you don't tell the negative concerns immediately. It will be rejected. You have to find the timing. Timing, it should not be perfect, but timing is a strategy that you can use here. Now, Philippines is a Christian nation. So if you know the story of Esther in the Bible, there was a story there where she wanted a favor from the king. So what she did was she dressed up so well. She prepared bountiful feasts for the king. And so by looking very pretty, by giving food to the king, I think it answers the two things that, according to studies, show men are visual, and you can show love to a man through their stomachs. So by doing that, Esther was able to get a yes immediately to the king, and the king said, "Whatever you wish, even half of the kingdom I will give you." So, you have to find a perfect opportunity to talk to this person, invite over dinner or coffee, and come across at something that you're there to openly discuss something. If the person takes it negatively, that's fine. If the person takes it positively, that's fine as well, as long as you have been polite. And by the way, focus not on yourself, okay, or not the person. Focus on the issue. Sir, we have an issue here. Never the person, always the action. Thank you, Pamela, for the question.
Okay. From Angela Beatrice, tips for handling criticism from others when you're starting your own business.
Okay. Know that a lot of the complaints are helpful, but know as well that some of the complaints are misunderstood. If you are selling a Toyota, okay, and the customer is asking for features of a Jaguar or Mercedes-Benz, then there's a big gap. That's why communication is the key. The usual problem here is that the person is expecting too much. Come on, you're flying a low-cost carrier, and you're expecting a first-class service. You're complaining about so many things, okay? So what do you do now? Communication is the key. So you have to explain to the customer that this is our brand, this is our company, and this is our product. And this is priced because of the factors. It's okay, let them know the business fundamentals. So I would suggest that how you deal with criticism is with transparency and openness.
Okay. I think we can yeah, we're accommodating two more questions.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Karen, when you finally get the chance to speak and gather your confidence after being shy for so long, and you actually got criticized or laughed at by your target audience, how do you actually bounce back from that?
You laugh as well. What are you gonna do? I mean, we were too hard on ourselves. If we know that we have failed and we have not delivered, or people laugh it out. Don't take it too seriously. Try to take it, as light as possible. And again, remembering that, the 80-20 rule. So even if you have been laughed at 8 times, know that there are 2 times that people will stand ovation, clap for you.
Okay.
So bounce back by being lighthearted. Take it with grace. Just like when candidates on beauty pageants would drop. It's not how much you have fallen, but it's how much you have gotten up. So get up with grace.
Okay, for our last question, this is from Angelica Pacundo. In my situation, I think I have an alter ego at work or when I face my clients in the advertising industry. I seem confident when I do my job, but at home, I tend to be shy when I try to communicate with my parents. Do you have any advice on how I can effectively talk with them? Because they told me that I'm so good with getting along with other people, but not with them.
Okay. This is so true in Asian households because we were trained not to talk, we were trained to obey and not question the rules. I can share you what I have done personally with my daughter. Because she didn't want to speak to me because she grew up in the Philippines. I mean, a few years in the Philippines. Then when she came in here, she wasn't speaking English, and there was a communication gap between the two of us. So how do you communicate now with your parents? Start with nibbits, like just nuggets of communication, just small amount. And some parents are just not really talkative, and it takes courage. Again, it's a fear of being rejected. If I speak to my dad would probably just shy me away. So how do you remove that shyness? You have the 5 rule or the 3 rule, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, tatay. Hey, dad. So you just start it out. And my daughter and I, because I would have to get into their psyche. She was a kid, so I couldn't talk about so super highfalutin words. So I would ask her, so Naomi, what do you think? Which is better, fork or knife? And because she was creative, she would say, I think the fork is better. And then she would tell me about the fork. And I'd say, I think spoon is better. And then you start this communication. And I know it's not going to be easy, but always think that you are giving a gift when you're communicating. You're giving the gift of listening, right? You're making people happy. So do not withhold this gift. When you think that communication is a gift, whether it's listening, giving, or talking, be happy and be proud that you're giving a gift to someone. Again, it's not about you, it's about the others.
Okay, so you can email to us your questions. We'll send it to Dr. Karen Remo. Then she can probably reply to you by email as well. So thank you very much, and join us also in our next webinar session. This is about the anti-terror bill. We'll have Dean Mel of FU Law School, Commissioner Armamento of Commission on Human Rights, and Prof. Likayan of our Political Science and International Studies departments. So that would be on July 2 at 2 p.m. So we'll also send you copy of posters and communication about it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Karen.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care.